Alright, ladies and gentlemen, after 8 minutes of technical difficulties, by which I mean my mom takes 7 minutes to make ramen noodles now, we are here for the 7th round of the ARC Indycar Championship, which takes us to a waterlogged Watkins Glen circuit. Yeah, there's a real-life severe thunderstorm warning here, and, well, in real life, you wouldn't race during a thunderstorm, but this isn't real life. I'd never question the boundaries of how far ARC is or isn't willing to go for realism, because I've been here for 7 years and I still didn't fully understand it. Anyway, most of the way through qualifying, courtesy of me wanting not to have my mom slamming the microwave door every minute and a half on the stream, we're coming down already to the sort of bottom few minutes of the session. DIVEBOMB currently leads the way with a 28.75. My nose itches. And there's Matthew Stotts. It's quite a field spread. The skill gap appears to be somewhere in the 31s. Hannick ran a 31, but Gabe has, well, never mind, McMurray has filled the void with 32.7. We're at a pre-qualifying, which knocked out Carter Ritchie, who managed to make 0 valid laps in 10 minutes, and then debuting reserve driver Zane Bradley, who missed by about a few tenths or so. I kind of didn't really get a chance to get into my flow because my mom literally came down the stairs in the loading screen, so I didn't really have a chance to prepare myself for the broadcast. I don't even know where to put the camera at. .28.7 is unbelievable in thunderstorm conditions. I don't really know what we'd be doing in dry conditions, because that was never even a thought process, but and Dylan's up on his time for good measure. He's on pace for a mid-28 if he keeps going as he is. It was like the first time I've talked all day, so my throat's kind of having to react to that as it goes, so I'll be muting my mic every few moments just to clear my throat, because, I mean, I suppose you would all be used to that by now, as Travis jumps to a 29.6, saw that out of the corner of my eye. Something else moved, but I couldn't see what it was. He just took that almost flat, I don't even know. Bit of a wall tap. Okay, he's pushed it too far, but admittedly, I don't think he had to do much else. He had the pole in hand, and even with Travis's improvement, it still has to by 8 tenths. I suppose there just leaves more for me to do when it comes to the little grid overview while everybody's setting their strategies and such. Another thing to remember, Kyler Boggs had a 2-week qualifying ban following someone from the Indy 250, so he can't qualify this week either. Fidel Fabian with a 29.64 jumps Stotts. Somebody else just moved, but of course I can't see it because the camera cuts away immediately. Jurgensmeyer with a 29.34, so this would have been a really intense qualifying session if DIVEBOMB didn't take it miles out of reach before I was even looking. So, wow, this is not even close to where the cars are. I mean, it'll be a good shot for going into turn 1, but for the grid overview, Dylan Bam has taken pole position by, what was it, 7/10? Followed by, apparently, Jerk had a thing, a grid penalty. So, Travis Van Oostendorp, Fidel Fabian, Matthew Stotts, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, AJ Knickel, Jake Scarborough, Jamie Wright, Matthew Daly, Jackson Tate, Gabe Cazola, Andrew Davis, Connor Hannock, DeJuan McMurray, Logan Poole, and Kyler Bogg starts last on account of aforementioned speeding penalty. Speeding penalty? Qualifying penalty. What am I talking about? I just need to get into the race. We can get a few laps in a row. I'll be able to get my brain sorted out. But admittedly, with these conditions, I would be very surprised if we got that. This certainly seems like caution flag weather. I mean, this seems like it should be race postponement weather, but nonetheless. The red lights turn green, and we are green from the thunderstorm at Watkins Glen. Travis gets Dylan off the line easily, and Matthew Stotts looks to join him. But he has been absolutely clobbered, and yep, there we go. Somebody missed their braking point, and we have had multiple destroyed race cars before we even get up the S's. And unsurprisingly, that is a caution. I believe Dylan is... Okay, no, Dylan's got going. I was like, did Dylan lose a tire? No, he just lost his mind. Other cars involved, Jurgensmeyer, Andrew was back here. See, Fidel missing a wing, Stotts missing a rear wing. Somebody was just clumsy there. I'm not really sure who that was, because I just saw a front wing pop into shot, and Matthew Stotts get absolutely catapulted. It looked kind of yellow, but I don't recall who would have been close enough to do that. Because Hannock was not up there. Logan was not up there. It might have been Jamie. It was probably Jamie, actually. Because, yeah, there are no other yellow cars this far up the grid. Or even cars with, like... I mean, there's, like, a little bit of yellow on Matthew Daly's car, and that's about it. So, yeah, this is about what I unfortunately expected to see today. I'm a realist, and I'm not an optimist, and it's very hard to spot one's braking points during a thunderstorm. And then, not to mention, Indycars don't have brake lights. So that makes things harder. We have the rain lights, but they don't light up when you hit the brake. I tried glancing in the different chats and discords to see if anybody had some kind of explanation, or, well, more likely, complaint about what just happened that could tell me what was going on. But, no dice. Actually, it might have been Fidel, since he is missing his front wing, and I'm pretty sure that front wing usually has a bit of yellow on it because of Napa. So, I don't know. It's either Fidel or Jamie, but Jamie doesn't have any damage, so... Okay, yeah, I was Fidel. Now that I've seen that reappear, that was I think, Fidel that sent Stotts flying. And it checks out since he was missing his front wing. And Apparently Dylan wasn't badly damaged or something, because he's not pit. I suppose he basically did just take like a little bit of a glancing blow from like Matthew Stotts' side bod more than anything. So I suppose it makes sense. Obviously, this makes Travis the leader, as he was able to escape the domino effect of turn 1. AJ Knickel, who was the first car, I think, behind all of that, ends up in P2 after starting 7th-ish, I want to say? 6th, 7th? And Stotts and Jurgensmeyer are almost here, so we ought to be good for green on this occasion. And McMurray has left the session. There's always a little bit of an extra sting when I see that happen so early, especially since I didn't see anything happen to McMurray that would cause him to leave, like major damage or DNF. But that could easily have been Zane Bradley's spot, because McMurray left literally a lap and 3/4 into the race. So we should be green here. Everybody is in the line. Just whenever Travis is ready to floor it. And there he goes. We are green again from Watkins Glen. Bars. It's a little more orderly heading through T1 on this time around. Single file restarts, helping keep everybody, a little bit more spread out so we don't repeat everything. Some more spread out than they'd like to be. And I think Dylan Bam has taken damage again, unless that was damage from before. He just decided never to fix. Oh, there's been chaos up ahead, though. I believe Kyler Boggs found a puddle. And other drivers have certainly paid for it, as debris is flying all over the place. Andrew Davis has completely missed the bus stop. And Connor Hannock is around on the exit of said bus stop. He gives it to spun around. He will be on his way. It looks like the car is not damaged. We are under caution again. Probably just because of the multitude of things. We had, debris in one corner. We had a spun car in another. We had whatever was going on at the top of the hill. We have Jurgensmeyer missing a wheel from something I completely missed. Luckily for him, it is at least a front wheel, so he can slowly meander his way back to the pit lane, but it's going to take a New York minute. Actually more than a New York minute. It's going to take a New York few minutes, since we're in New York. That joke doesn't really work the same. So we're probably going to be using up 2 laps here under caution. Pits will be open here for sure, obviously, but it's going to be the same song and dance. It's only the cars at the back that got involved in a second incident. Although AJ, I suppose, mandatories now count, so we might see more people try. But with the way that this race has trended thus far, I would tend to think that getting some track position and being out of the absolute madness that's happened on both race starts so far would probably be the best choice for, looking long term. But I believe all these pit stops will count towards mandatories so long as the drivers make, tire changes. You don't see why you wouldn't when you're already fixing the car anyway. That's just, you're already spending so long in the pit lane as it is. You might as well get that out of the way. We might be on pit limiter and everything, but Jurgensmeyer is still not even at the pit lane. He's about to make it to NASCAR 8. I think this is. I just call it the penultimate turn, because I don't remember the actual NASCAR corner numbers, because the carousel is just kind of a question mark. Not the carousel, the bus stop. I call it 2 turns, a right-hander and a left-hander. But some people call it 4. Others just say it's a turn. I think NASCAR does the same, because it's a 9-corner track in NASCAR. So it's NASCAR 8, and then final corner is NASCAR 9. But we also, obviously we have the boot, because we're doing the full GP layout, so. Something I'm honestly surprised NASCAR doesn't do. And when you think about it, the next-gen cars are basically GTs, with a smaller rear wing and more horsepower. And, weighing an extra almost 1,000 pounds. But the amount of downforce on them and the different downforce parts, like canards, diffusers, front splitters. I mean, those have always been there, but you get the idea. But, that's neither here nor there. We are not going green this time, I don't think, because Jurgensmeyer hasn't even left the pit lane yet, and he's going to be pretty much rejoining, probably with them. I think he'll be out of the pits, a little bit ahead of the leaders here. Although, that said, we usually don't do 60 unless we're going green that lap, so it's hard to say. AJ's call to pit early and complete the mandatory puts Gabe in second. Matthew Daly's still in third. He was in third on the last restart, so I guess he got passed by Gabe on the restart, but overtook AJ because AJ pit. I believe Jurg is just now leaving his box. Yes. So he would be out ahead, but not by much. But everyone's bunched up. Okay, we are green again from Watkins Glen. Travis waited till the start finish, possibly commanded to do so, to make sure that Jurgensmeyer had enough space to clear himself from the field. He looked further back, since Lord knows that's been the source of all evil as of late. And I see Dylan is already missing a front wing, and Stotts is already missing half a front wing. These two cannot stop, apparently. Well, we've almost made it to Sector 3. We are still at racing speed. This is a win for us. Well, Stotts and Dylan notwithstanding. And Hennick's actually in last, but I think he just went around again and didn't damage his car. Jamie's out there finding new roads. may leave him... Come on, work with me here. Vulnerable to AJ Knickel behind on his... Well, the first tires aren't going to matter. Just the fact that AJ is pace. But in fact, it is Jamie actually putting somebody else under threat, as he's right on top of Jake Scarborough. Context, but... AJ Knickel seizes the moment. He goes down the inside, and he will overtake Jamie Wright. As Jamie was held up trying to give Jake a little bit of, space as they head up the S's. He had to check up, but AJ didn't. And Lord knows this is a place to keep the camera, as we see Gabe going off... That's not Gabe. That's Jackson Tate going off track a little bit up ahead. The wrong red car. Right? There are exactly 2 of them. You had a 50-50 chance, and you still got it wrong. Yeah, this is certainly a place to keep the camera, as Lord knows, AJ and Jake have had no shortage of comings together lately. No love lost between the two. Even though Jake is the points leader, AJ is off of the track, and Jamie is around in the background. Jake, I think, was sliding but recovered, but he's got something. He's got half a wing. No, that's not missing. That's just hard to see because there's no light. I think Jamie did something there other than spin. I think he got into the back of AJ. And that caused AJ to go off track. It might have been netcode. It looked really weird from what I could see, which with this lighting is not a whole lot. Logan trying to find a way to catch / overtake Kyler Boggs. But Kyler's got the far better run out of the S's there. My God, 179? You must not be running much wings. He must not be having. Yeah, that's not... I must not be having great grammar either. No, Logan Cool, super loose out of the carousel. Man, just save it though. I said they're not over there anymore, game. And Throat continues to protest. NJ a bit wide up there. You have to be rather cautious of where the puddles are in those last 2 corners. You can't hit either apex. And there's a puddle on the front stretch too that you also have to avoid, because we just saw these 2 do. As we ride on board with Scarborough, is to give you an indication of just how not great visibility is. Honestly, I figured it'd be worse than this, but the rain spray in this game isn't as extreme as it should be, so... Or who knows, maybe it's actually worse for the players, but because we're the commentator, we can just kind of get magic water vision powers. Minecraft moment. Jackson Tate's having himself a race thus far. He's closing in on Matthew Daly to try and get onto the podium. Head back to a trackside camera here. Whoops. And the train has sort of reformed. The top 3 cars. What? No. 3rd through 7th are not super... Excuse me, I'm really having a meltdown here. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth are all less than a second apart from the car ahead. There we go. That is how you commentate a motor race, brain. God. Taking the rakerisms to the next level here. This is something much worse than those ever were. This is more like a disease. Tate runs very wide out of... would that be the heel? Or just the top of the foot? Because it's, what? Entrance, toe, heel, ankle, I think. And as Asia Knickel is starting to catch Tate, Tate is taking things very slowly at the moment. He definitely overbroke for the ankle, but he's gotten back up to normal speed. Oh, that's too much speed actually, and that's a barrier. AJ will take advantage as Tate has obtained it. Oh no, I think he just hit a puddle. That's not damage. I mean, he probably has damage, but what he was doing just there was not a result of it. Jake with a huge moment hitting that inside curb of the hill. Logan Cool is playing it very frisky with the puddles as he elects to make a pit stop. Travis has been comfortably making the race his own thus far, with most of his main rivals kind of bogged down in the back. Dylan Bam and Matthew Stotts currently way down there in the order. Stotts is sort of slightly making his way back towards society, but not much. And then Dylan is he's he's having some problems. There goes the rear wing. And I believe he will actually sit here and wait for all of the cars on the lead lap to pass. As here they come now. Finds a gap, goes through. He will return to the pit lane. His pride probably about as damaged as his car after that one. AJ Knickel was catching up to his teammate Matthew Daly up there. AJ's race pace doesn't seem to be too far removed from what his qualifying pace was, and 180 heading towards turn bus stop. What? Oh, I'm going delusional in the commentary box. I'm gonna lose my mind. The things that I say are just... There's a bit of debris there. It's just barely out of the racing line, and now it is gone. Sit on board with Knickel as he attempts to navigate the ocean spray and find a way ahead of his teammates. Hopefully without too many complications. The big puddles on this track really are just in the third sector. Excuse me. You've got the big one on the front stretch for no obvious reason, and then we just have those two inside puddles on the first or the last two turns. There are other puddles, but they're a lot easier to negotiate as they're in just more forgiving turns, like the one here on the inside of the top of the S's. You can just not go that low, it's not very hard. 184 into the braking zone for the bus stop. Yeah, Sector 2 is almost entirely devoid of like major puddles as Matthew Daly just allows his teammate to pass through with, as said, no complications. The rain doesn't really seem all that bad in some places on the track, either, probably contributing to the fact that some parts of it just don't have puddles. There he goes. Jurgensmeyer, that was off track there. Yeah, I was seeing Matthew Daly's pace starting to deteriorate, and he's going to pit before the problem becomes worse. Another thing, too, is AJ has already made his mandatory pit stop, so he might be like 13 seconds off of the leader, but the leader still has to pit, and if we don't get a safety car, that's quite an implication to be had. If things go green from here, AJ may be on course for, well, a very decisive victory, shall we say. He is catching Gabe Cazola at a considerable rate. Let's look at the lap times. 34.5 to his... 34.9 to AJ's 33.5. Travis Mann a 31.5, and he is green on his previous lap, so he's faster than he's ever been at the moment. That just doesn't matter, though, because he has yet to pit, and AJ doesn't need to. Unless his tires can't go the distance. Didn't quite match his Sector 2 time, but it doesn't really matter because he still ran a 31.9. AJ has to pit again. I was kind of thinking that maybe his tires can't go the distance. I was sort of wondering, and apparently that is a yes, or the mandatory didn't count for some reason. Oh, it didn't. No, I'm dumb. It's after lap 3, not on. Okay, so no, AJ does not have the easiest win ever. I am spouting more misinformation than an internet forum at this point. That is my commentary. I'm just an internet forum. I'm just full of embarrassing typos and false information. Oh my god. They say your intelligence degrades when you leave school, and I've been out of school for 8 years, so I suppose it's about time it starts showing. AJ has only lost 2 places with that pit stop, though, only losing out to Gabe and Jake, who he's already passed one, so we have a retirement. It was Jurgensmeyer. Which being multiple laps down, and the fact that the race is sort of spread out a little bit. Not too much, but it's spread out. I suppose Jerk just kind of rationed that he probably wouldn't really be able to participate in the race again. Logan Cool has disconnected from the party, I can see that there. Or he was the retirement, I'm dumb. Wait, so what? So Jurgensmeyer I just didn't see, he's still on the racetrack. Despite being, I believe, a lap and a half down. Logan is the one that has retired. But he's still in the lobby. Because I just saw his name come up there as he was talking in game chat. So I'm just kind of wondering what that's all about. I was like, who is this car behind Travis? I could not, for the life of me, figure out who that was. It's Fidel Fabian. He's been lapped, despite the fact the interval doesn't really represent that at all. He's not a minute 18 behind, he's a minute 35 behind. Travis makes his pit stop, having cleared Fidel Fabian. So obviously that allows him to get back on the lead lap. Gabe might follow. It's hard to be sure. Looking like he will. And this may allow AJ to inherit the lead. He'll always get back to second. But depending on how Travis's pit stop goes, it might put him in the race lead. He's already re-overtaken Scarborough. Okay, no, Travis still has the definitive lead, but Gabe is going to lose his second place again. So now it's pretty straightforward thinking, honestly. AJ must catch 12.5 seconds. And he's got about 10 or so laps to do it. But Travis was the fastest car on the track before pitting. So long as he hasn't had the funny tire pressures glitch ruin his entire car's handling, something tells me this is Travis's race to lose, or Travis's race to get sacrificed by the safety car gods. Andrew and Jamie pit. Jamie missing his front wing. I can't exactly say the two are connected, but the timing of it does kind of raise a suspicion or two that perhaps these two pit stops are connected. They are not fixing his car either. So that is unfortunate. Kyler Boggs has found a puddle, I believe that was. No, he's lost a rear wing. And I think he tried to pit but missed it because of the puddle. Depending on where that rear wing is sitting, that might be... That might be the caution that Travis doesn't want, but we're still at green flag speeds at the moment. That is the retirement. Kyler Boggs does not feel like continuing with no rear wing, honestly. Can't say I blame him. The weather already makes these cars bad enough. Jackson Tate, who was once running in the top 5, is now down... a lap down. Andrew Davis is not far away from that, either. As Jake Scarborough has now caught up to Gabe Gazzolo to mix things up and go on board as he attempts to negotiate, try and get himself onto the podium, which would be very crucial because I do believe he is the points leader following his official victory at Willow Springs, as hotly as hotly contested as it was. Yeah, that slipped, honestly. Ugh. There's no way I could hold that word back, how much of a nightmare that was. Not as a commentator, as everything else. Jake, do me a favor, try not to run him off the track. Oh, God. Yeah, it's quite a run up the S's. The bus stop, not the greatest passing zone, though, and his run died on exit. And that bus stop line has not helped. Yeah, I would check to confirm. I do believe Jake is the points leader. I can't actually tell because my tablet will not load the standings on SLP. And apparently that's not just a me problem. Stotts tried to look earlier on his phone, and that didn't work either. So, I would have loved to look at the standings, but once again, I am surrounded by bad technology. Or, just, I guess, not surrounded by a computer. That's the problem, really. The site still works fine for computers, but it's not quite optimized for everything else. So it seems. Regardless, Gabe found a puddle. Jake does well to react in time to avoid a disaster right there. And with that, Jake does put himself onto the podium. And now, that is, never mind. I was like, oh, now Gabe is under threat from Matthew Stotts. No, but he's not that far away either. That car there is not Stotts, that is somebody a lap down. That is Connor Hannock. But the car behind Hannock is Stotts, and if he gets to Gabe, it's for position. Obviously. It's about 2.5 seconds between the pair. AJ is actually running Travis down. I believe he's now really pushing that machine, knowing that there is something to be had for so. What? Oh my lord! Can't talk today. There's something to be gained from doing so. Oh, I'm good at this, I swear. Remember, I'm commentating because I'm better at it than driving. Kill me. Anyway, yeah, like I said, the Wreckerisms are in full swing today. Honestly, they're kind of a level above normal. Or like 6. Gabe nearly went exploring there. He's trying his darndest to keep up with Scarborough. Connor will allow Stotts to pass through, but he's lost a decent amount of time just being with him, I think. Top 4 all ran 32s. Yeah, it's a thunderstorm. It's something else, but honestly, it hasn't had a huge effect on how the racing product has been displayed after we got past lap 5 and we started having green flag laps. It's just made the race a little longer because you can't go as fast. Obviously, the drivers would say nuts to that, but from my view in the commentary box, it doesn't actually exist. It's just been a slightly slower race than usual. I mean, actually, I don't know. There are probably a few that are having just as good a time here as they would be otherwise, but not everyone. Okay, Travis must have just had an off lap, because he's back into the 31s. AJ just had a very on lap, and now he's back into the 32s, so we've kind of returned to what we were before. Stotts now pits, so yeah, that pit stop he made on lap 3 did not count, obviously, so he has to do it again. He had driven himself up to 5th on track, and honestly, just by attrition, he's going to find himself probably at worst 6th on track. So to be there in P6 after the race start he had is not the worst thing in the world, all things considered. I thought that was Gabe there, and I'm like, wait, what? What did I miss? No, that's Tate. From a distance, their cars look similar, and it's dumb, because they obviously don't look similar, and I'm just a fool. But Nice camera. Yep, he's over there, game. Gabe is still hanging on to the back of Scarborough. Just about. He's just close enough to get the little icon the game displays for being within 1.2 seconds. But he's not made any real inroads on him either. Travis had an off lap, and AJ had a really good lap. Gained almost 2 seconds on it. These two are just kind of doing a bit of tug-of-war as to who has the good and who has the bad lap on each lap. But at this point, even if AJ ran 2 seconds faster per lap, unless Travis made a really big mistake, it wouldn't be enough. Okay, no, that's there. I was like, wait, what? No, it just... The camera was looking at the carousel, and I thought he would spun or something, but he was just taking the corner after it because the trackside cameras are incompetent. I thought Stotts had actually... Stotts, oh my god! Travis, I need to be fired, honestly. Maybe fired or fired at, firing squad, just something. I need to learn a new language. I'm about to learn Chinese, because obviously I can't handle English anymore. Decent serviceable lap for Travis, despite the trackside cameras not following it very well. What does AJ answer with? About the same, so it's kind of evened out there. Yeah, now Travis just needs to not make any mistakes. He's got the lead back to 10 seconds. Gabe has lost track of Jake Scarborough, so barring unforeseen circumstances, we've pretty much got our podium, and it's just sort of a case of those three, along with everybody else, just taking her to the checkers. Travis is about to put somebody near the lap down. Not really exactly sure who it was. It looked like it probably was Connor Hannock. I saw a little bit of gold tint on that car. Could also have been Matthew Daly, though. I could also just check. It was not Matthew Daly. It was, in fact, neither. I'm just an idiot. Who was near there, then? Was it Tate? No, it was Fidel. I thought this was for position for a second. No, no such luck. It's just Matthew Daly running behind Gabe Pizzola. The lead is further extended. AJ made a mistake on that lap, and that lost him 5 seconds or so to the leader. If he does that again, he might be near Jake Scarborough. Oh, he is fuel saving, I believe. But Jake isn't really that much better fuel either. You know, Travis is 30 liters, so he's obviously clear with 2.5 laps of racing left. Oh, puddle. Puddle that Jake took way better. Jake is sort of being inhibited by Jackson Tate, who's not just letting him go either. Suppose waiting for the front stretch would be easier. Front stretch. Wow. Ugh, coming up with new words as we go along, ladies and gentlemen. Now, please just let this race end already so I can stop talking for a minute. My brain needs to reload. I need to reboot and try again. The AJ is in outright fuel save mode. Scarborough is in outright send it and find out mode. Despite the fact that they have pretty much the exact same amount of fuel. But the difference in mentality has meant that Jake Scarborough is catching AJ Nickel at a pretty considerable rate. AJ's not only going easy on the throttle, but he's also seemingly just going easy as a whole. Although now I think Jake understands the gravity of the situation, and I think they both now realize they might not have enough fuel to make it to the end. They both used too many pushed passes, I think. And Jake hasn't even used that many, compared to AJ, who's used 2 more than him, and neither of them might have enough fuel to make it across the stripes. Oh, there's no way they do. 2 liters here? That is a bold decision, Jake. I don't think you're making it, buddy. You might be able to, maybe if you ran 6 all the way around the track. Oh, he actually is doing that. AJ makes the wiser decision. He grabs a quick 10 liters. That's probably more than needed. Probably needed like 5. Here comes Gabe with not a less than a liter of fuel remaining in the vehicle. He will grab 2nd place in the madness. And Scarborough is out of fuel on the exit of the bus stop. I knew darn well. You can't really fuel save in this game. It's practically on a straight line, like ratio. I don't really know how this gets scored. Is this a DNF? Or does he still get scored above all of the cars that only made 25 laps? I'm not exactly sure. What I am sure of is that Travis Van Oostendorp has put on quite a show here. Not much in doubt as he wins this thunderstorm race here at Watkins Glen. Gabe Gazzola, by way of evading the idiot penalty, is going to end up with 2nd place. AJ Knickel taking the taking the apprehensive, let me just hit and have more fuel approach, will still be rewarded with 3rd place. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, to be honest. Because, okay, so Jake is going to be 5th, and there's no way that Fidel can pass him because this race is over. But Fidel's car is running on its own power, and Jake's isn't. I think AJ just had a moment with a puddle there, but ultimately it doesn't matter too much. He's going to cross to grab the final spot on the podium. Matthew Stott some ways away, missing, I believe, part of his wing even. He'll head through the last 2 corners. He'll end up with 4th, and he is, I think, the last person that really has to cross to finish the 26th lap of racing, anyway. And now we wait for whoever else was not on the lead lap. Oh, okay, we're not going to get that out of Tate. He's just kind of parked. Well, that was definitely a race we've ever had, as Matthew Daly is. Never mind, that's 11. That's not 0. I'm blind. So the game scores Jake with 5th. because he completed 25. He started the 26th lap, and the people behind him didn't do that. It's the interviewees file in. I'll just do the podium because my throat's starting to get angry at me. So our third place, rather apprehensive finisher, AJ Knickel. I say that because of the pit stop. That's not the right word, I don't think. But he ended up on the podium in spite of underfueling the car. Was that just a case of too many pushes to pass being used? Is that the term?
I just misjudged. I thought 29 would be enough. Clearly I wasn't the only one since Jake also ran out of gas, but I just think there was maybe a bit of a misunderstanding between the game software on fuel calculations and the actual reality. With that said, that's more on us for not knowing
Not preparing.
exactly how much to put in. So I think I'm happy coming away with P3. I think there was more on the table had I not had to push so hard, but it is what it is.
And speaking of on the table, I know you must have been involved in something lap 1. I didn't really get a great view of that, so if you could kind of walk myself and the viewers through the turn 1 incident that puts you at the back on the first restart.
So, it was actually the second restart I went to the back, but the first restart, I can walk you through what happened. There was contact at the front between Dylan and Bam and Matthew Stotts. I think that there was a little bit of overlap, sent Dylan into a bit of a spin, and then he was kind of parked sideways on the track, and then beside that, Stott's car flew up in the air and came down on my front, directly on the top of my right front wheel. I got really lucky to come away from it with only 1 damage, but what did me in was the second restart when we got back up to speed. My teammate, I think, maybe misjudged his braking point, or there was a bit of contact or something, but just gave me 11 rear end damage, rear wing, and to me that's going to be so draggy, unpredictable. I felt like we were probably going to get more yellows, and an early pit stop would end up helping me anyway, but I guess that was not the case. The pace was definitely more than we came away with, as you can see by the lap time, but I think this is a good start considering how badly the season's gone so far for me. I think this is step 1.
Yeah, I can certainly see that, although I kind of have to wonder if Travis was sort of going at maybe 85% since he had such a lead from the outset, more or less.
Oh, but I'd imagine, yeah.
As we look ahead to second place, Gabe Gazzola, who's just been, especially in IndyCar, he's just been the master of just quietly doing his job and getting surprise top 3 results, despite the camera's not really looking at him very often in the race. I suppose the obvious question to ask would just be, how did the rain change your driving style? It's kind of pull a page out of the old F1 interviews. Remember those?
Yeah, it just made me kind of have to just drive smoother. I had to avoid the puddles, obviously, which changed my line in a lot of corners, but I was really just trying to be smooth with it, not over-rev the car, not try to keep it straight, and that's what I did all race, and I think I wasn't that fast, but I was about probably the only person outside of Travis to not have some kind of an issue, so that's how I got second.
Second by attrition, kind of.
Yeah.
You avoided everything, and yeah, that's about. Sometimes that's all it takes. I can certainly confirm. I've certainly had my fair share of ARC results come from just being one of the few on the track that didn't screw up anything. And then, speaking of not screwing up anything, our race winner Travis. I suppose the first question would be kind of that: were you ever even pushing 100% on any lap of this race?
For about 10 laps maybe. Once I got ahead of Gabe, 12 seconds ahead of Gabe, I toned it down. I just made sure not to hit any of the puddles, took it easy through every corner, about 75%, wasn't going too hard. And then AJ got up to me, I started getting up a little bit, but I was just, he was going to catch me a little bit regardless because he had so much less fuel than me, so I wasn't really that worried. Just
Too much
kinda
less.
cruising along, taking my time.
And then I'm more so asking this because I can't look myself. How do you think this will affect where you stand in the championship standings? That's redundant because my tablet can't load SLP, so...
I think this is going to help me a lot, because I usually don't wreck myself a lot. Or by wreck myself, I mean run into other people. It's usually, in this series specifically, it's usually people running into me, and usually that happens towards the later end of the season when I am already fighting from behind, and this is about the first season I've ever had a really good start to the season. So I think this is going to be really good. Jake had a bad day considering, not probably a good day considering all the carnage, but I think I'm going to jump him in standings. I think I'll have a nice little gap, but I'm feeling good now. Feeling really good.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Is Scarborough being scored 5th because he technically completed? Okay, I was just like not sure. It's like, does it count as a DNF?
Because I lapped up to 6th, so he couldn't finish any lower than 5th.
Because some leagues and some series will do that, where if you couldn't finish on your own power, you're considered like DNF'd and classified at the bottom of the running cars.
That would be pretty stupid.
I think F1
Yeah, since
did
Jake
that
completed
at some point.
the same amount of laps as Fidel and them, but actually completed more distance.
Well, alright, so I guess it could have been a lot worse for Jake. At least he started that lap, but yeah, so that will wrap things up for the ARC Indycar race of Watkins Glen. The conditions have not much affected the Chevrolet teams, clearly.
No.
AJ, if you want to do the outro thing, because you kind of have the better definition of that. I'm getting better at it, but I still
You're able.
mess up. My throat spits in your face. I'd like to thank sponsors, DiveBomb, that's the one that I don't remember. Is that like our lead social media promotional group? I believe.
My goodness. Okay.
I remember the other 4.
I'll take the outro. Okay.
You were supposed to write a script for me for this last season, pretty much, at this point, and you just never did.
Yeah. Well, that was the IndyCar Watkins Glen Grand Prix. Nice rainy event. Shout out to all of our partners, especially DiveBomb Media, who help us out on a bunch of different levels. Sim League Pro, who helps with all of our scoring and statistics. Burning Rubber Podcast, who have some awesome guests and stuff on. James McAdam for letting us use his photography, and AJ Knickel Design for all of the graphics on the pages.
So I just was being too specific. Anyway, with that said, that'll do it for today's broadcast. The next broadcast should be Thursday's Indy Lights events from possibly also Watkins Glen, I think, or would that be where the next race is?
Watkins Glen.
Okay, so yeah, from Watkins Glen. I was like, I could bring up my tablet, but that would take too long and make the outro awkward.
It hasn't been awkward enough.
Yeah, I mean, this entire stream, I've just been kind of a bit neurotic, so honestly, what's a little bit more stupidity in there? The Richerisms were cranked up to 12 this evening, but Thursday is the Watkins Glen Indy Lights race. Friday will be an F1 stream. I won't be there. People who actually know the English language will be. But until then, AutoRacingConnected signing off.